Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 10 Middle Eastern fragrances for the fall. So let's jump into it. All right, so the summertime is coming to a close, thankfully for me, because I don't handle the heat very well. I got too much ginger in my DNA. I can't handle the heat, and I'm kind of sick of the summer fragrances. I'm sick of the freshies. I'm sick of the citrus. I need to get some of my fall fragrances out here. I cannot wait to get some of these fall fragrances. So I got 10 Middle Eastern fragrances for you for the fall. Nice variety. We got a bunch of stuff from Afnan, Lattafa, Maison Alhambra, Rasasi, a whole bunch of Middle Eastern houses, a whole range of different scent profiles. We got leather, we got something a little bit on the kind of greener, fresher sides, some tobacco fragrances, a whole bunch for you to enjoy. Links are gonna be down in the description if you decide you wanna check any of these out. So let's quit screwing around and let's get into it. All right, kicking things off, we're gonna start with the House of Afnan with Afnan's Tobacco Rush. Now this fragrance is a great fall fragrance on much cooler days, those cooler evenings in the fall. Absolutely beautiful, dry tobacco, leathery style of fragrance. Opens up with that really dry tobacco, leathery style of scent accord. And it has some really nice spices in there, but it also has a little bit of these sweet notes that work its way through. So there is a moment where it sort of reminds me of Mancera's red tobacco, but that quickly dies off as those sweet notes kind of sink down a little bit into the background. You get a little touch of oud that comes through. You get some nice dry style of amber that comes through, little hints of some cedar, and it's just a beautiful, like I said, dusty, dry, rugged, masculine tobacco fragrance with this nice leatheriness to it. Absolutely gorgeous, perfect for the fall time, perfect for those cool evenings. Performance on this is great. I get 8 hours of longevity, no problem, and it does project out fairly well for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. If you're looking for a nice kind of dusty leather tobacco style of fragrance with just little hints of some sweetness in it, some nice woods in the base, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Afnan's Tobacco Rush. Next up, going to the House of Paris Corner with Paris Corner's Killer Oud Ethic. Now this fragrance is absolutely perfect for those mild and even warmer fall days. A barbershop twist of a fragrance has a nice herbaceous, green, fresh spiciness to it, a brightness to it that's just gonna make you smell absolutely gentlemanly, dapper, sophisticated. Opens with a nice level of sweetness in these nice fresh spices. So it has this pink pepper, this berry essence that's worked in there, little kind of cool wisps of some frankincense in there, some sweet herbaceousness that's in the base to this, and a nice creamy, smooth sandalwood, just giving this a refined, sophisticated sort of scent DNA to it. Just absolutely a gorgeous scent profile on this. If you're into barbershop style of fragrances, that kind of clean sort of feel, this is gonna get you there with like a little added herbaceous sweetness and a little bit of fresh spiciness. Performance on this is pretty good. I get about 5-6 hours worth of longevity, and it does push off moderately for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. Again, if you're looking to have that kind of dapper, gentlemanly, masculine style of scent DNA, you definitely wanna check this one out. That's Paris Corner's Killer Oud Ethic. Next up, going to the House of Maison Alhambra with Maison Alhambra's The Tux. Now, if you were looking to smell like an absolute gentleman, dapper, luxurious, you definitely want to check this one out. A clone of the YSL Tuxedo DNA, and it's absolutely beautiful. Opens with these beautiful spices in the beginning. Sharp, lively, has this black pepper touch to it. Also has some nice warmth that's working its way through. Little hints of some floral aromatics that are kind of dancing in there as well, but you really get these nice sharp spices and this warmth coming through. In the base, you get some nice vanilla, some benzoin, and this patchouli that works its way through. So nice earthy patchouli, kind of drizzled with some nice soft vanilla, and this amber in there, forming kind of an amber wood style of base, a little bit of dryness that's mixed in there. Just an absolutely gorgeous scent DNA on this one. I absolutely adore this one. Performance on this is pretty good, about 6-7 hours worth of longevity, and it does project moderately for about an hour and a half before it moves back in. If you're looking to smell like a gentleman, if you're looking to smell classy, looking to smell like money, look no further than Maison Alhambra's The Tux. And back to the House of Paris Corner. We're going with Paris Corner's Cerrito Mysterious Tobacco. Now, some have compared this fragrance to Carolina Herrera's Mystery Tobacco as well as Mancera's Red Tobacco. The Red Tobacco comparison, maybe a little bit, because there is that sweetness that comes through, but I do think this is a little bit different. Opens with this really nice ginger and osmanthus. So this osmanthus gives it this like fruity apricot vibe. Mixing with some nice citruses, has a little bit of that kind of ginger sparkle that's going on to it and little touches of green that's mixed in, but then you get that tobacco that comes through and it's like a wet pipe tobacco sort of vibe going on to it. Mixing with that fruity accord, the apricot is really kind of what you get from this one, and it mixes in with that tobacco note really well with those hints of greens. Just absolutely beautiful. It has that gentlemanly, masculine vibe going on to it, but it also has that kind of fun, playful edge to it with that fruity accord that's working its way through. Just beautiful tobacco style of fragrance. As this dries down, you get a little bit of this roasted tonka that comes through. It has a little bit of creaminess to it, but it adds like another layer of sweetness to this, giving it a little bit of depth and some nice, rich woods that work its way through. Absolutely gorgeous. It's like smoking out of an old wooden pipe, this like wet pipe tobacco with this osmanthus, this apricot fruity accord that works its way through. It's just absolutely beautiful. Love this scent DNA. Performance on this, about 6-7 hours worth of longevity, and it does project off pretty good for about an hour and a half before it does move back in. If you're looking for kind of more of a playful tobacco fragrance that still has that gentlemanly vibe going on to it, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Paris Corner's Cerrito Mysterious Tobacco. Heading back to the House of Afnan, we got Afnan's Supremacy Noir. Now, this fragrance just has fall written all over it. Has a really nice, sharp, piney green style of scent DNA to it. Mixing with a little bit of citruses. In the opening, you get some bergamot that's working its way through. Some nice aromatics as well, but the star of the show is these greens that come through. This nice, sharp pine that gives us this very foresty sort of feel. A dryness that comes through it as well. There's some juniper that's mixed in here. Little touch of leather, but it's more of a texture than anything. And as you get to the dry down, you're just left with kind of a nice, bright, airy, sharp, piney style of fragrance that just has this fall woody vibe written all over it. I absolutely love this one. This might not be for everybody. This has got a very kind of piney, woodsy, almost balsamic sweetness that works its way through, like a tree sap style of sweet. That might not be for everybody, but I absolutely adore the scent DNA on this. 6-8 hours worth of longevity, and it does push out moderately for about an hour and a half to 2 hours before it does settle back in. But like I said, if you're looking for that very kind of outdoorsy, fall in the forest style of scent DNA, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Afnan's Supremacy Noir. All right, next up, going to the House of Lattafa with Lattafa's Maahir Black Edition. Now, I'm just going to warn everybody right out the gate, if you're not familiar, this is not going to be for everybody. This is a very dark, smoky, ashy, rugged style of scent DNA, and I absolutely love it for that reason. Opens with this big blast of black pepper, some pink pepper, and this cade oil. So this black pepper is really sharp, gives you a nose tickle, and this cade oil is an ashy, burnt wood, smoky style of scent accord. There's a little bit of gurgeon balsam in there, adding just a touch of some balsamic sweetness to it, a little bit of earthiness. That pink pepper also kind of adds a little bit of sweetness to this, but through and through, this is just a black pepper infused, burnt log, smoldering fire style of scent profile to this. The sweetness just kind of tames things just ever so slightly, just so it's a little bit more on the tolerable side, but I absolutely love it. Very challenging fragrance, but it's dark, mysterious, has that bold edge to it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. As this does work towards the dry down, that spice does kind of get a little less aggressive. It's not as kind of nose tickle black pepper spice. And it does move into a little bit of sweetness and a little bit more earthiness. So this moss comes through, which adds a little bit more kind of a smoke to it, a little bit kind of an inkiness to it as well. And it mixes with that ashy burnt wood scent accord. And overall, I absolutely love this one. I think it's a nice balance of that smokiness, the spices with just a little touch of sweetness that works its way through. But it is a very challenging fragrance, and it's not going to be for everybody. Performance on this is great though. I get 8 hours worth of longevity, and it does project off moderately for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. If you're looking to step out of your comfort zone, if you're looking to try kind of an ashy, burnt wood, smoky, spicy style of fragrance, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Lattafa's Maahir Black. All right, next up, we're gonna go with something that's a lot less challenging than that Lattafa Maahir Black, and it's Armaf's Odyssey White Edition. Now, this fragrance is a clone of Stronger With You, just a little bit more on the fresher side in that opening. Opens with some really nice bright citruses and has these aromatics that are worked in there, but it definitely has that Stronger With You style of DNA. It has the warm spices in there, some nice vanilla, a little bit of a nutty touch in there as well. So it gets really close to that Stronger With You scent DNA. just has a little bit more of a freshness to it, a little bit more of that citrus kind of brightness and shine going on to it. So a little bit lighter than the Stronger With You. I find that's a little bit gourmand and it can be heavy and more kind of a winter fragrance, whereas this one, I think you can pull this off in the fall as well as the winter, just because it has that added freshness to it and that little touch of the aromatics that are in there. Just a beautiful Sentine. If you're into sweet fragrances with a little bit of brightness, a little touch of some kind of clean aromatics working its way through, you definitely want to check this one out. 6-8 hours worth of longevity, and it does push off pretty good for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. If you're familiar with the Stronger With You style of Sentine, this is something you definitely want to check out. That's Armaf's Odyssey White Edition. Next up, moving to the house of Rasasi with Rasasi's Sator. Wow. Now, this fragrance is absolutely slept on. I've talked about this once or twice before this one because this one just definitely needs more attention. Rich spices, this beautiful creaminess to it, these elegant woods that are mixed in there. Has this cinnamon, this amazing atomizer, cinnamon, cardamom, walnut. This nice gurgeon balsam that works in there, giving it a nice kind of resinous sweetness. This waxy style of saffron that's in there just blends with this nice rich spice medley, this warm spice medley that's in there. And then in the dry down, you get this nice creamy style of sandalwood, adding a little bit of sweetness as well. Just a beautiful dance between these spices, that saffron, this walnut, just adding a touch of nuttiness to this, and that sweet balsamic nature to this. This is just an absolute chef kiss, beautiful fragrance. I absolutely adore this one. Performance on this is pretty good. I get 7-8 hours worth of longevity, and it does project out pretty good for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. If you're looking for kind of a flirty, sexy, elegant style of Sentine, has those warm spices, a different kind of balsamic resinous style of sweetness, and just a beautiful creamy wood base to it, this is the fragrance for you. Go check it out. That's Rasasi's Sator. Wow. And back to the house of Lattafa. We're going with Lattafa Pride's Alaric Gold. Now, this fragrance is a recent pickup of mine, and I was a little bit nervous because I know the Pride line series can lean a little bit on the feminine side, so I rolled the dice with this one, and I'm so happy I did because this is a great unisex, sweet leather style of fragrance. Opens with this black tea, saffron, suede leather notes. The black tea that comes through this is a nice kind of herbaceous sweet tea that fuses in really nice with this soft, suede style of leather. Little touch of that saffron mixed in there, just kind of adding to that suede accord. And in the base, you get some nice vanilla that works its way through. There's a little kiss of incense. It's more kind of a sweet, churchy incense, but it does sit in behind. It just kind of like wraps around the scent accord with this, maybe adding a little bit of kind of like a smoked vanilla sort of vibe going on to it. Just a beautiful balance between a nice, soft, leathery suede with these sweet accords that go in. The black tea doesn't stick around too long. The sweetness that you are going to get from this does come mostly from the vanilla, but it's a really nice balance that both the ladies and the gentlemen can enjoy. It's not too sweet that this would push this way over to the feminine side, but it's not too bold masculine leather that it would kind of tilt more masculine. I think this is a great middle of the road, sweet, soft leather style of fragrance, and I absolutely love this one. Performance on this is great too. I get about 8 to 10 hours worth of longevity, and it does project off pretty good for about an hour and a half before it does settle back in. If you like those kind of soft suede style of fragrances with a little kiss of some sweetness in it, you definitely want to check this one out. That's Lattafa Pride's Alaric Gold. All right, last, but certainly not least, going back to Maison Alhambra with Maison Alhambra's Toro Pour. Now, no fall fragrance list would be complete without a Terre de Hermes style of Sentine, and that's what we get with this Toro Pour. I got this maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I've worn the crap out of this one because I absolutely love it. Has that Terre de Hermes style of earthy vetiver with some brightness to it. There's this orange, a little bit of grapefruit in the opening, and this really nice pepper that comes through. This has a more orange forward when it comes to the citrus, so it's a very fresh style of orange, has some sweetness that's in there. The pepper really comes through. The flint note in this does give it kind of like almost a mineral tinge that's working its way through. It just kind of plays with that pepper really nice. And then you get that nice earthy green style of vetiver that's in the base. Absolutely gorgeous. Not as vetiver forward as the Terre de Hermes, but it's definitely still there. This is just a little bit brighter and a little bit fresher than that, but the pepper in this is really nice. I absolutely just love how this one comes across. Like I said, I've worn the crap out of this one. Towards the dry down, you get a little bit of cedar that kind of moves in, plays with that vetiver a little bit, but through and through, this is mostly kind of an orange, bright, fresh vetiver fragrance that comes through with a nice dash of black pepper just to give you a little bit of a nose tickle with it. Absolutely fantastic for the fall. Performance in this is really good. I get 6-7 hours worth of longevity, and it does push off pretty good for the first 2 hours before it does settle back in. If you're looking for a good Terre Hermes clone, if you like that style of scent DNA, you're looking for something maybe a little bit fresher and a little less of that vetiver forward, earthy, dirty, green sort of vibe, this is a nice alternative to that and definitely worth checking out. That's Maison Alhambra's Toro. All right, so there you have it. That's 10 Middle Eastern fragrances for the fall time, but I want to hear from you guys. What's some of your favorite fall fragrances from Middle Eastern houses? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gem, your different taste and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.